Hello there, this is Mikhail or Michael speaking, and as always, before I start the video, I want to say thank you all who decided to support me financially, be it through Patreon, PayPal, or Super Thanks. Thank you friends, and have a blessed day. Now, today's video I will start with the situation around city of Bakhmut, or specifically situation to the flanks of that city. First, let's view the situation around Klishchiivka. As a result of continuous and almost non-stop attacks in the direction of the settlement of Klishchiivka, Ukrainians were able to advance here from Ivanivsky, from this forested and hill area, as well as here across the canal where a few days ago they've established a bridgehead. As a result of those successful attacks, they were able to push Russians further back to the settlement of Klishchiivka, and at this point they have nearly pushed Russians out of the tactical heights that serve as a natural defense for the settlement itself. There were also reports of Ukrainian forces successfully advancing and capturing this tactical height. If we zoom in, we can see that Russians have an extensive trench line network, which in this sector is the most important stronghold, the control of which gives you control over Klishchiivka. So most Ukrainian sources are suggesting that they were able to successfully advance and capture this tactical height. Some even say that they were able to enter the settlement itself. However, recent reports suggests that Russians were able to successfully counterattack Ukrainians, drive them back and recapture some of their positions around the tactical height, and it would seem the tactical height itself. As you can see, information coming from both sides is contradicting with one another. Ukrainians here reporting massive success, however Russians are reporting relative Ukrainian success, claiming the situation here is critical but generally under control. It has also been reported that Russians are trying to pull up more reinforcements to relieve some of the Russian forces located here in this sector. It is also important to note that as Ukrainians are advancing in the direction of Klishchiivka, they are forced to advance on the open fields, which allows Russians to easily spot them and fire upon them with artillery even before they reach the actual battlefield. Here situation can develop in an interesting way. Of course, judging by how Ukrainians waged war in the last few weeks, they can continue smashing against the Russian lines all across this front line in attempt to storm and capture the tactical heights while taking heavy losses in the process. Or perhaps they could swing around and attack in the general direction of Andreevka, basically going around the tactical heights controlled by the Russians. But again, in any way, who else controls this massive line of trench works will probably be in control of Klishchiivka. As of right now, I think it is safe to say that Russians are still in control of this trench lines. Then from Klishchiivka, let's quickly visit the northern flank. As some reports suggest, Ukrainians were continuously assaulting in the direction of Berkhivka and in the direction of Yagodne. Not only Ukrainians were unable to advance here, they were successfully counterattacked by the Russian forces. So the fighting in this sector continues, with Russians having upper hand in this sector. Then let's quickly visit Belagorovka Liman sector. It has been reported that Russians had slightly advanced in the direction of Belagorovka. However, there are no clarifications as to where exactly. Same situation is in the Serebryansky forest. There were reports that Russians were able to advance in this direction, capturing Ukrainian trench lines and strongholds. There is a video of Russians walking in the Ukrainian trench. Unfortunately, this video I cannot show. It has a lot of dead people in it. But in any way, it would seem that Russians had started an offensive from Kreminaya in the general direction of Zarichne and from Dibrova in the general direction of Torske. Then interesting information is coming from the settlement of Novasilevsky. It has been reported that after Russians conducted successful counter-offensive operation here in this sector, Russians were able to capture the train station and, as some reports suggest, cross the rail lines and at least capture one street to the west of the rail lines. And of course, some reports also suggest that Russians advanced even further and captured these streets as well. These offensive operations are also supported by Russian attacks in the general direction of Berestove and Stelmachivka. Then from here, let's go to the Zaporozhian front. Let's quickly touch on the situation on the Vremivka tactical bridgehead. In the last few days, Ukrainians were unable to advance anywhere on the front line despite heavy attempts. Especially heavy attacks were coming from Livadne and Novodarivka in the general direction of Priyutne, as well as from Rivnopol, in attempt to push Russians from this ledge. Ukrainians were also advancing in the general direction of Stromoyorsky and Urozhaine, once again without any success, and in the direction of Novodonetsky. These attacks did not see any success as well. Then let's go to the Arijit direction. here in the last 48 hours, Ukrainians were continuously assaulting Russian positions in the direction of Rabotine, as well as Nesteryanka and Novobakrovka. Again, some occasional success is reported to the right and to the left side of this road. However, this local success came at a high cost. Russian artillery do have an upper hand, as well as there is an extreme activization of Russian drones, which does not make lives of Ukrainian soldiers assaulting these Russian positions in this sector easier. It has been reported that again, Ukrainians mostly stopped using armor here and are attacking with infantry and limited number of armored personnel vehicles. Then let's move to the situation around Lapkova and Pieterhatke. For at least few weeks, Ukrainians were desperately trying to take control over the settlement of Pieterhatke. Long time ago, they already claimed that the settlement is under their control. However, recent footages supported the idea that it is in the gray area, with Russians and Ukrainians occasionally taking control over certain parts of the settlement. But it would seem that after long and gruesome battle that lasted few weeks, Ukrainians were able to successfully push Russians out of Pieterhatke, after which tried to attack Russians that retreated and took stronger defensive positions on the tactical heights. However, recent reports suggest that that attack failed. It has also been reported that Ukrainians are using limited amounts of infantry here. It would seem they are very cautious as to not to develop way too much forces and attract a lot of attention from the Russian artillery. Ukrainians were committing attacks here in this sector with a small contingent of infantry. Each time, about 15 men are attacking here in this sector, with almost no cover from artillery or tanks. So it is safe to say that Ukrainians attacking here in this sector are at a massive disadvantage. Then let's quickly touch the situation on the Antonovski Bridge. It has been reported that after a long operation to clear this area from the Ukrainian forces, Russians were able to advance and capture at least this portion of the Dacha area. Here is a video of Russian aviation striking Ukrainian troops on this western side of the bridge. It has been also reported that most of the Ukrainian troops had already retreated to their own side of the Dnieper River, and there are limited amount of Ukrainian soldiers in this sector that are left. Ukrainians are still trying to send reinforcements, but they are targeted by Russian artillery and drones, which renders these kind of actions practically useless. With this, I end today's video. I hope it was to your liking. If it was, please consider supporting it with a like, comment, and a subscription. These actions help promote this video to a wider audience and motivates me to work harder. Thank you in advance. As always, humanity calls me to condemn all violence against human beings. Have a good day, and always remember, Russia will be free and great.